You on a Friday. Oh, man. Good to be up. Bit of an odd day. It's an odd. Wifey's out of town. So obviously the world is wobbling. You know, no linchpin. Hold it all together. Good woman in your life. Add stability, I have found. Uh, Not so much right now. She's out of town. But I got a little workout in. That was nice. Power went out. Been a little rainy here in Austin. Dense fog warning. But, oh, sometimes the Lord provides. And the politics gods have smiled upon us today because we've got an all-time gaffe on our hands. It's out of Maryland, and I'm just gonna say, uh, George Allen, you can rest. You can rest because this one, it's kind of got it all. Uh, it's a legit gaffe, like just somebody slip of the tongue. It wasn't, I don't think that there was anything meant by it, but oh, good God. This one it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's beautiful. We'll wait until we get a little bit more of a crowd before we play it. But oh, geez, Louise. It looks like we will fund the government. Um, the DOJ has accused Apple of being a monopoly. They're suing them. But how bad was the gap, guys? You're all right. Let's table set. I'm glad I'm bringing this to a lot of you guys that a lot of you guys have not heard of this one. Let's table set. Let's gaff table set, right? So we're gonna say minor gaff. Minor gaff. And by the way, let's actually define this. You want to know what? This is good. Gaff. What is the definition of gaff? An unintentional act or remark causing embarrassment to its originator, a blunder. As a longtime Apple enjoyer, jury, how does it feel for the government to say that Apple is better and it is hurting others? I mean, look, I've long been an Apple fanboy, and that is no secret. I mean, on my person, there are four Apple items that are essential to my life. The laptop we are streaming this on, the phone that I will probably absentmindedly check in the middle when I'm supposed to be talking to you, the watch that will alert me that something has happened on the phone that will make me absentmindedly the phone, and then I don't have my earbuds on me, but my AirPods are like, ride or die. These things are just staples of my existence. For my money, they are the best thing that Apple has done in the last 10 years. Like, it's the last time that I was like, oh, Apple gets it. Um, in terms of solving the problems with those kinds of devices, which was largely connection speed and noise canceling. They've kind of done both. Uh, with that being said, we can do the DOJ thing before we do the gaffe thing. I actually think this is an interesting case. I think that this case is making an argument that will continue to be made until the dam breaks. And that is iOS a marketplace? So, not is iOS in a marketplace of other operating systems, but rather, is iOS itself a marketplace? That is the DOJ's assertion. And in that assertion, they do have plenty of evidence to say that Apple is abusing its power position in that marketplace. Apple can say, well, we invented it. It's like, yes, and there still is a duty to competition. But Apple's biggest case will be to say that iOS is not a marketplace. It is just an operating system, and they can't help it if it's popular. But part of the reason why it is popular is because Apple restricts certain core operating functions to apps that only they make, because they want to ensure that anybody who buys one of their devices, one of their iPhones, has a good experience. And should they allow tap to pay, should they allow SMS, should they allow X, Y, or Z to use these functions, then it would degrade the experience. iPhone users would be not pleased and they would sell less iPhones. So you are asking them to degrade the experience, the chrome polished experience of iOS, to do these things. Now, there's also elements in there. It really is a greatest hits of things that people have been mad about with Apple for the last 10 years. But there's also the everlasting element of what can be listed in the App Store and how much you are able to extract for the privilege of being in the App Store. Whether or not, X, Y, or Z. Those are elements that all of this, to be totally honest with you, Apple will never proactively make these things different. They will force the government to make them do it, because they know that every second that they continue to operate with the margins and not allowing certain apps to push people back out to other websites, every second that they hold the line on that, they make a lot of money. And once they are compelled to not do it, that power never comes back, ever. Um, so, yeah, the argument for the DOJ is like, yes, yes, yes. We all know that iOS was made. We all remember, many of us remember when iOS first debuted. It was, a thing. It was a step out on the limb. They innovated in a space that they have pretty much dominated since in terms of design and features. They haven't always been the market leader, but they are close to it now. Apple very rarely dominates markets by numbers, but they usually dominate it by money. Meaning they sell less, but they make more. Phones are the exception. They do sell more phones than Android, in America at the very least. But Right now, iOS is a place in which businesses, billion-dollar businesses, are largely minted. And if that's not a marketplace, then what is? So that's going to be the argument that the DOJ the DOJ has to make. I'm actually really fascinated to follow this one. This one is going to be interesting. All right. How many people we got here? All right, we got near 200. I suspect that we will play this multiple times. But we got to play this clip. Okay. All right. Uh, this is David Trone. David Trone is a. Oh, wait, I plugged in the wrong thing. Plugged in the wrong thing. Hold on, hold on, hold on. David Trone is the front runner to win the Democratic primary for Senate. That will likely match him up against Larry Hogan. Larry Hogan is the former governor of Maryland and is a very formidable, if not the front runner, to take that seat. A Republican senator in Maryland would be a rarity. You don't see it all that often. But David Trone is very exciting for Democrats, mostly because he is the man who made Total Food and Wine, or sorry, no, not Total Food and Wine, Total Wine, the franchise of wine superstores. Uh, so here we go. This is David Trone, I believe, in the no, this is in the House. Yeah, representative. This is in the House of Representatives, and he was talking to Sholanda Young of the Office of Budget and Management. Here we go. All right, so far so good, right? This is exactly the kind of person that you want to run in Maryland. He's a Democrat, but he's a businessman. He has built something. He can self-finance. Sorry, that last part was just for the DNC. He is a man of all trades. Moments before disaster. The video has no. Oh, God damn it. Wait, you guys can't hear that? Why can't you hear that? It's coming through the board. I can hear it on the board. Gosh dang it. The problem is I was trying to do it fucking full screen. Okay. Oh, shit. Hold on. Yeah, stream gaff, right? Why is this not? Why the fuck? Check, check, check. Oh, you want to know what? All right, so the mic was hot. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. That's crazy. So it's coming through. Oh, gosh. Dang it, man. What the hell is going on? What audio am I putting in? Ah, pimping. That'll explain it. And it'll also explain why you guys weren't complaining about the mic being hot. Because I was talking into my fucking MacBook the entire time. Okay. Let's begin again. Here we go.
And not one time ever in the history of my life.
All right, you guys can hear that, right? Yes, it should sound 100% better. That is true. Okay, you guys can hear. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm going to move the chat over here so I can actually see what you guys are saying. What a beautiful world. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from the state of Maryland, Representative David Trone.
Something has to be done that's absolutely outrageous. And government businesses don't make decisions on investment, which creates the jobs based on the tax rate. I've made in my past life hundreds of millions of dollars of decisions each year on budgets and to build new buildings, enter new states. And not one time ever in the history of my life did I say, what's the tax rate next year? What you look at is, can you compete? Can you do it better than the other competitor? And with that, can you create a P&L statement that works?
Again, like I said before, everything's going great right now. This is an amazing David Trones. He's a great speaker. He's a charismatic guy. He's got a business record and he can sell finance. That's awesome. 10 out of 10. Look at him talk about profit and loss records. See, Democrats aren't all just a bunch of government funded commies. They definitely build their own things like this guy. A toast to Trone. A toast to Trone, the total wine magnate. Indeed. Hopefully you don't totally explode on these next 3 sentences.
And the tax rate, that's after the P&L. It's never, ever once been a consideration. So this Republican jigaboo that, it's a tax rate that's stopping business investment.
The what? The Republican what?
Consideration. So this Republican jigaboo that, it's a tax rate that's
Oh,
stopping business.
oh, no, 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 David, no, no, no. Oh, oh, just one more time, just one more time.
Make decisions on investment. Never, ever once been a consideration. So this Republican jigaboo that, it's a tax rate that's stopping business investment.
Oh, jeez. Jeez. So we wanted to say bugaboo. You know, let's look up the definition of bugaboo. The object of fear or alarm is a bugaboo, according to dictionary.com. I'm not going to define the word he said. It is not only a racist slur, but it's like, if we're gonna rank racist slurs, like it's the one that only like the real racists say. Like, you might catch the odd, well-intended but maybe overzealous person singing their favorite song and they drop an N-word, right? That happens. The N-word has an element of cultural cachet for which, can create awkward, if maybe not out and out racial supremacist moments. Hard to think of a modern era, or really any era, where that word has been used without it just being bad, just being really, really, really bad. Yeah, it's our Archie Bunker era shit. Like, it is old school stuff. I think the last time in popular culture that word raised its head was probably in a Spike Lee movie where somebody was saying something extraordinarily racist. I mean, look, Google it yourself. If there's some people that have never heard it, well then, congratulations. It does mean that we have made progress in society. Go ahead and Google it. Go ahead and Google it. See what comes up. Why isn't the J word? Because it's not really a thing that like outside of an intellectual or academic context I've ever really heard kind of reclaimed by black people. Like, it's something that is discussed as a relic of history, thankfully consigned to history. And in my world, the only people that I have heard said it or I've read write it, these are racist. Like people that, not in our modern world where everybody's a racist and we all need to confront our systemic racism. No. I mean, like, the bad guys in a racial integration movie racist, right? There's a great Bill Burr bit where he talks about how we're running out of inspirational desegregation movies because they did one about swimming. And he's like, where to swimming? And the trailer, there's going to be the guy that stands up and says, get out of the pool. Like, that dude says that word. It's some Django Unchained shit. Yes. This here from the Daily Mail. Maryland Democrat Senate frontrunner David Trone uttered a racial slur during a House meeting, but claimed he was trying to say bugaboo. Trone, 68, was talking about Democratic tax policies with Shalonda Young, who's director of Office of Budget and Management, when he used the offensive term. The congressman said to Young, who is a black woman, so this Republican there's a Jay-Z song. Jay-Z would probably be the only person who's come close to reclaiming that word. He is known as Jigga, the Jigga Man. That is among his nicknames. Got a song, Jigga what? Jigga who? Jigga what? Jigga who? You guys have no idea how nervous I was tap dancing through that minefield. But that might be a song that David Trone is into. Maybe that's what he was thinking of. The congressman said to Young, who is a black woman, so this Republican, that the tax rate is stopping the business involvement is just completely faulty by people who have never run a business. Trone didn't pause or seem to notice what he said, but he was later forced to apologize, telling Fox News Digital it was a slip of the tongue. Pleading his innocence, he said, today, while attempting to use the word bugaboo in a hearing, I used a phrase that is offensive. Yeah. You did. You did. A bugaboo means an object of fear, while the word Trone used is a disparaging historic term for black people. Trone was speaking to Young as she testified for the committee about tax policy. He did not immediately correct himself. The Maryland politician is known for a strong stance on racial justice and has frequently posted about the Black Lives Matter movement. In his apology, he added the word has a long, dark, terrible history. It should never be used at any time, anywhere, in any conversation. I recognize that as a white man, I have privilege, and as an elected official, I have a responsibility for the words I use, especially in the heat of the moment. Regardless of what I meant to say, I shouldn't have used that language. One person took to social media after seeing the clip and wrote, Rep. David Trones need to explain why the fuck he just used the word in a budget hearing. You want to know what? Fair statement. You do need to explain why you use that word in a budget hearing. I watched his comments in context, and using that word was totally bizarre. No, it wasn't racial, but because that's not the kind of word he should even be in your head to slip out, I'm side-eyeing him. Since his ad paints him as a racial justice warrior, he should know better. Oh, baby, we should go look at his ads. They might be really funny. David Trone. Yeah.
For 27 years, I was incarcerated.
Prison was very dehumanizing.
I knew if I built myself with information, that's something to be proud of.
The man will never change until the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change.
Thanks to Congressman Trone, the Second Chance Act was passed.
I was part of the pilot programs, had me feeling like a student and not a prisoner. It just kind of like melted the barbed wire fences away.
I had a 3.8 GPA.
I was a straight A student.
A person who receives a college degree while incarcerated is less likely to come back to prison.
I know when David was a businessman, he helped abandon the box and give recently incarcerated people a job. I think he sees everyone as human beings.
Once I realized I was going home,
I think David believes in second chances.
I'm David Trone, and I approve this message.
Oh, man. Oh, no. David, why? Why? This is his announcement that he's running for Senate.
I'm David Trone, and I'm running for the Senate because the clock is ticking. Every hour in America, 10 people die from overdoses, 100,000 preventable deaths in 2021, 100,000 more in 2022. And if we don't do something about it, another 100,000 this year and the next. Every hour, another 5 people take their lives due to mental illness, 50,000 last year. And every hour in America, over 100 black men are arrested at 5 times the rate of white men. Is any of this acceptable to you? To anyone? Not to me. I grew up on a farm, and we had some tough lessons. We just couldn't pay our debt. And then the bank took the farm, and know what it's like to struggle. You learn there's no shame in asking for help, but there is in not helping. As a founder of Total Wine & More, I was one of the first to ban the box, to give the recently incarcerated a second chance, and offer free college and partner benefits to our employees. And in Congress, I've successfully fought to help people struggling with substance use disorder, mental health.
Yeah. Where did you learn that word on the farm? Was that where you heard that word? I actually don't mind Total Wine & More. Their selection is usually pretty epic. Their beer selection can be, well, actually, no. I really like their beer selection. Specs' beer selection can be eh. The only thing that kind of stinks about Total Wine is that they've got a cigar room that's like okay, but you can't just walk in there because cigars are expensive and they're easy to shoplift. So you have to hit a button, and whenever you hit a button to alert people, it's not just a discrete button. It's like it plays a little it plays a little ditty. It's easier than you think, Tron. Now I might be on your side. Plays a little ditty and is like, somebody needs to get into the cigar room. Maybe they're celebrating something. And then like nobody shows up. You already feel like an asshole because you just blasted this out. And then nobody shows up, so you got to hit it again, and it's like, somebody needs to get into the cigar closet. They must be celebrating something. Yeah, almost a jury boot.
Unfair criminal justice system. By bringing people together, I like to think I've made headway, but it's not enough. I know I won't be the establishment choice, but hey, why start now? I've always been about representing you, not them. So I'll be using these next few months to talk to everyone I can about these issues. Because if we talk about them, then maybe, with your help, we'll do something about them. Time is wasting. I'm David Trone, and I approve this message.
Oh, David Trone. So David Trone is running against Larry Hogan. Well, actually, hold on. When is the Maryland primary? Got to be soon. May 14th. So a late primary. But let's take a look. At Maryland. So, March 20th. So, this is recent. This has got Larry Hogan up by 12 over Trone. That's a big jump from the last time this was polled back in February where it was a tie. Hogan is a very, very, very formidable candidate. I don't think that there would be a better Republican person on that ballot than Larry Hogan. He was a multi-time elected governor. He's won statewide before. He's got his established, his anti-Trump bona fides are established. It'll be a real test for the, recently reconnoitered Pangea of the Republican coalition to see whether or not they can have the wherewithal to not attack Larry Hogan, because Larry Hogan will have to establish himself as apart from Trump. But if they can do that, then the Republicans are going to add to their map, which is very challenging for Democrats this cycle. It's like a once in a generation opportunity to pick up a bunch of seats in a Republican election year where the Republican turnout for president is going to be very, very high. And the Democratic side is low because there's not a lot of enthusiasm for Biden right now. But even if people get more excited about Biden, you'd want them to be excited the entire time, because then, these things are cumulative. You do build and build and build and build and build. That's what wins elections. So we talked on PX3, the episode that came out today, that polling-wise, you've seen Republicans run behind Donald Trump in these states. Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, and even Montana. You have seen the Republican Senate candidates run 10 plus points behind Donald Trump. And so some of these states are R plus 5 and above. So that means that you don't need to have the same amount of votes as Donald Trump, but you just got to stay within the margins. And right now, those candidates are not. Reconnoiter sounds Deadwoodish. Yes, it's where I got it from. Thank you for noticing. Yeah, I had to look it up. There's an episode called Reconnoitering the Rim, and I had to look it up. A very David Milch word. Very Shakespearean. All of the RNC money is going to Trump's legal fees. So that has become kind of a thing that people talk about. The RNC money has not gone to his legal fees. Now, will it eventually? Who knows? But his PAC has been paying his legal fees. And there is a big question on exactly how long that is going to happen. Yeah, the PAC money has gone to the legal fees. But the PAC money would not be going to Senate candidates. The RNC money would be going to Senate candidates, and the National Republican NRSC. The NRSC money would be going to the candidates. New donations to the RNC goes to the PAC first. Which PAC? There are always multiple PACs for a candidate. Has Trone's gaffe affected him in the polls? Well, we have not seen any polling yet. That happened yesterday. So we have not seen any polling yet, nor do I expect that we will see much polling on stuff like that. Now, the question would be, he still has a primary to go through. So let's take a look. So Trone up 7, over also Brooks. And that was taken on the 20th. All right. So that was the same one that showed him down big to Larry Hogan. Let's see. Hogan versus also Brooks is also a blowout. So slightly more of a blowout than Trone. But the thing is that the Democrats desperately want Trone to win this, because if he does, he can self-fund. And so the Democrats, who have a very challenging map, right? The Democrats have a very challenging map. So they got to decide where they're spending money. And right now, you know, are you guys familiar with like what a good map or a bad map is? Should we do a little primer on that? Or am I don't want to talk over, up, and above and around. Do we want to do a quick primer on why this is a good or bad map? Okay, we'll do a primer. So, Senate seats up 4 grams in 2024. So, obviously we know that it's an irregular cycle for Senate seats to be up because it's every 6 years. So in the House, it's every 2 years. You're constantly fighting for your seat over and over and over and over and over and over again. Senate, because it is the country club, you have some time to breathe, right? You have 6 years, at which point incumbency becomes really, really helpful, because 6 years is a long enough time. You usually can outlast, you can outlast a presidential term. If you win again, then now all of a sudden you've outlasted a president, even one that is very, very popular and wins twice. So that means that depending on the makeup of the Senate, by just math and how everything works out, one party will have a lot more seats up for grabs that are grabbable than the other. Last time during the midterms, the Democrats had a not great map. This year they have a terrible map. Absolutely no good, very bad map. I believe that the Democrats are going to lose the Senate. And here's why. Of the seats that are currently held by Republicans that the Democrats could hope to take, you've got Rick Scott in Florida and you've got Ted Cruz in Texas. And those are your best. Those are your absolute best shots to take a Republican seat. Florida, which has only gotten redder, and no matter how much here in Texas, Democrats can believe that Texas can go purple, spoiler alert, it ain't. So that means you now have to look for the Democratic seats that are being held. And so here are the big ones right off the bat, because the Democrats currently have a 51-49 lead in the Senate. So one seat ties it, and obviously then the tiebreaker goes to who the president is. 2 seats, it's a Republican House. And here's the reason why I think it's going to be a Republican chamber. Number 1, Montana. That is a deep, deep, deep red state. Donald Trump is on the ballot. He's going to bring a lot of Montanans out there. They've got a good candidate in Tim Sheehy there. I think Montana John Tester will lose in Montana and the Republicans will get that seat. But that's not as surefire as West Virginia. Joe Manchin is retiring. The former governor of West Virginia, Jim Justice, is on the ballot. He's got a cute dog. It's a fat dog. It's adorable. Look up Lady Dog. Or Baby Dog. Sorry, not Lady Dog. Baby Dog. Apologies to Baby Dog. But there's no incumbent. Joe Manchin's the only Democrat who could have won that state no matter what. He was going to lose that, so he's out. So that means you got two. Right? Boom, boom, boom. That's a Republican Senate right there. Senate Majority Leader, one of the Johns, right? But now let's look to some of the other up for grab states. Let's start with the ones without incumbents. Kyrsten Sinema, also out. That means Ruben Gallego and Carrie Lake are going to go mano a mano. Obviously, the Republican Party of Arizona, bit Looney Tunes. They seem like they are trying to make amends. Carrie Lake is apologizing to Meghan McCain. Meghan McCain is responding with no peace, bitch. But whatever. The other one without an incumbent. Michigan. Debbie Stabenow, out. That means there will not be an incumbent, but that is a Democratic seat that can be taken. Arizona was a Democratic seat, then it became an independent seat, but that is what it is, right? But now let's look at other seats that are, swing state seats. So you got to imagine that you're going to see a big turnout, and right now Donald Trump is leading in all of these. First and foremost, Ohio. Ohio has become an out-and-out red state. Out-and-out red state. Sherrod Brown is somebody that has done well in Ohio, but he's going to face a really, really, really tough test with Bernie Moreno. Bernie Moreno didn't just win that primary on Tuesday. He smoked him. Absolute domination. Won every single county. That means he's got cross-class appeal. That's how you need to win in Ohio. Where you talking about Michigan? Wisconsin's got Tammy Baldwin. She is, that's going to be a big, very, very hotly contested state. Donald Trump won that state in 2016. You've got Pennsylvania. Probably, the state that will decide how things go down. Pennsylvania is going to be huge. They elected John Fetterman a couple years ago. So can Bob Casey be pushed by David McCormick, the guy who very narrowly lost to Dr. Oz in that Fetterman election? Those are the big ones. But that's what, when I say bad map, like, here's the possibility, right? Let's sniff the Republican hopium. And let's just count these blue states. So 50-50 after Montana, 51-49 after West Virginia. And then let's say that the Trump wave is a rockin' and a roilin'. That means it's 52, 53, 54, 55, and fuck it. Let's go all in. Carrie Lake goes 56. That's like, now you're cooking. Now you're cooking. If you've got a 56-44 majority in the Senate, it's like on and popping. Now you can afford to lose some senators and pass stuff. So then that's the nightmare scenario for the Democrats. On PX3, I went through the fact that that's a lot easier said than done for the Republicans. Right now, the Democratic candidates in those races are polling well. They're beating their Republican counterparts. There's going to be a lot of questions of exactly how this is going to, age throughout the summer. I've heard a lot of criticism of some of these candidates, that these candidates are not exactly great. Obviously, you've got some really flawed candidates, including Carrie Lang. She's very popular to a certain subsection of people, but she just lost statewide. So why are you going to bang your head against the wall when the woman just lost statewide? Now, of course, not according to her. But, it really depends on how united the Republican Party can stay, which is not a guarantee. People like fighting. How much they can define issues that will get people to the polls and vote for them. How many elections in a row have we been on red wave watch? No, I mean, you usually look for the opposite party to do well during midterms. And so we saw a little bit of that. We saw a lot of that with Biden. I don't think we were looking for a red wave during 2020, and then 2018 was a blue wave. We were watching the blue wave. I don't think anybody was looking for a red wave in 20. I don't know who. It's not here. We were not talking about a red wave on any of my programs. I can assure you that. That was a weird election. That was so weird. Trump was, sure. I mean, come on. I don't know. What do you want a politician to say? What do you want a politician to say? RNC funding diversion to Trump to impact. So I am not well read on the thing that was posted in the chat. So RNC funds back. Let me take a look. So this is the story. By Michelle Price, Donald Trump's new joint fundraising agreement with the Republican National Committee directs donations toward his campaign and a political action committee that pays the former president's legal bill before the RNC gets a cut, according to a fundraising information obtained by the Associated Press. The unorthodox diversion of funds to the Save America PAC makes it more likely that Republican donors could see their money go to Trump's lawyers, who have received at least $76 million over the last 2 years to defend him against 4 felony indictments and multiple civil cases. Some Republicans are already troubled that Trump's takeover of the RNC could shortchange the cash-strapped party. Trump has invited high-dollar donors to Palm Beach, Florida for an April 6th fundraiser that comes as his fundraising is well behind Joe Biden and national Democrats. The invitation's fine print says donations to the Trump 47 committee will be used to give the maximum allowed under federal law to Trump's campaign. So remember, that is a capped number. You can only give, I forget what it is. I think it's like tens of thousands of dollars or something like that. Anything left over from the donation goes toward a maximum contribution to Save America. And then anything left from there goes to the RNC and then the state party. Okay, wait. So this is just for this event. So the event, it's not that if you donate to the RNC then gives the money elsewhere. It's at this fundraising event where he's going to raise a shit ton of money, and that money could go to the RNC. Adav Nadi, the executive director of the Nonpartisan Campaign Legal Center in Washington, said that it is a break from fundraising norms. Nodi said candidates prioritize raising cash that can be spent directly on campaign activities. Save America, on the other hand, is structured as a leadership PAC and thus barred from spending directly on Trump's own campaign activities. Legal spending made up 85% of Save America's operating expenses. The Trump campaign noted that Save America spends on expenses. The Trump campaign noted that Save America spends on expenses other than legal fees and that donors to the April fundraiser who contribute the suggested $814,600 per person or $250,000 per person will only have $5,000 of their donations go to Save America, sending hundreds of thousands of dollars to the RNC. Save America also covers the very active and robust post-presidency office and other various expenses not related to fighting the illegal witch hunts perpetrated by crooked Joe Biden. The Trump campaign, the RNC, and the state GOP parties ultimately received the overwhelming majority of the funds through the Trump 47 committee. Out of an individual donor's maximum contribution, less than 1% goes to Save America, said Stephen Chung. Okay, well, now I have more questions. We're going to look up this. Trump fundraising committee to use donations for legal bills. A portion of the donations to the newly formed Trump 47 Joint Fundraising Committee will filter to the Save America PAC. They traditionally filter to candidates' campaigns, the national party, and state parties, not leadership PACs. So yeah. This if this is the big news, and if somebody else can find something that directly says the RNC is paying the legal bills, then please send it to me. But this story looks like this is a joint fundraising. So joint fundraising stuff does happen all the time. It's a way that you can get around a bunch of rules. But normally leadership PACs don't eat from that teat. I don't know whether or not that's a phrase that I should be using, but they are not at that trough. It's normally, but then again, PACs have just become such a larger part of politics. Like, I don't know whether or not, I mean, look, Donald Trump's got a lot of legal fees. And Democrats very much want to talk about the legal fees because as long as you're talking about the legal fees, you're talking about the court cases. As long as you're talking about the court cases, you are getting to the point where you want to point out that Donald Trump is a criminal, right? That's what Democrats want to do. That is the blocking and tackling, the X's and O's. Whenever you think Trump, think criminal. Whenever you think Trump, think January 6th. Whenever you think Trump, if I were running the Democrats, I would say think Roe versus Wade. Joe Biden doesn't seem as excited to push that message, but whatever. RNC rules Trump legal fees. All right, this is the Times. Former President Donald Trump's new shared fundraising agreement. Okay, yeah, but this is just the joint fundraising thing. So this is what they're funneling for major donors, as I understand it. I might be wrong. We'll have Dave Leventhal on the show next week, and I'll ask him about this specifically. But the way that I had seen it reported is that, like, if you give directly to the RNC is going to, before they take the money, hand some off to Save America. That is not the case. They are lining up big donors that are all going to come to Mar-a-Lago, and they're going to play fucking YMCA, and Donald Trump's going to be on his weird boomer iPad playing the jams. Like, that's going to happen. And they're going to pay about $1 million a piece. Right, whatever the legally allowed limit, which is like $250,000 per person or like 800 something for household. At which point, money is going to go everywhere. But what is remarkable, so let's understand what is newsworthy, is that Save America is not only a part of that split, but it is an early part of that split. Now, you can only give $5,000 per person to Save America, so if you're giving $250,000, obviously the $5,000 is not the largest part of that. But still, let's understand what's newsworthy. It is newsworthy to say that this PAC is that high on the pecking order. But it is not right to say that the RNC is paying his legal fees, in my opinion. The majority of those donations will be under that limit, assumedly. No, Brawley, I don't think that that's the case. This is a joint fundraising organization set up for major donors. Like, they are launching it with a big ticket fundraising thing at Mar-a-Lago. Like, that's going to be a bunch of people that are all going to show up and pay about $1 million. Now, if we see that becoming the like chief way that they fundraise, then you would make that argument. Right now, they are positioning it as a major gift situation, not necessarily just the way that they will do all their small dollar donations. But maybe they will. We don't know. But this stuff is complicated. I don't blame people for getting crossed up with it. I don't know all of the rules on it either. But there are limits. McCain-Feingold just made everything such a mess. Well-intentioned campaign finance reform, but I don't believe we have really done much of anything with it. And, I don't think that the rules that are put in. How do PACs and campaigns coordinate? Well, PACs and campaigns are not supposed to coordinate. So, number one, what are you, a cop? You have to tell me if you're a cop. Number two, in a bunch of different ways, you know, the latest loophole that I saw was in the JD Vance campaign in 2022. They were essentially using publicly available, it wasn't Google, but it was other versions of like that kind of online collaborative software. And they just both had unlisted but publicly available links to coordinate. So they were, by the letter of the law, talking to each other in public. But how public is an unlisted link? You know? Unlisted YouTube videos are a big element of this. All right, you want to know what? Let's take some calls. Let's take some calls. Call me now. 510 404 80 30. Open up the skizzipe. Five ten 404 80 30. We'll talk about whatever you want. Talk about whatever you want. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Merrill Barr.
I promise I'm not calling about boobs today.
I mean, I didn't mind that one. That was a good one. I like that one.
The chat did not like that one.
Well, who gives a fuck about the chat? All right, go ahead.
Although I am calling with some fun film Twitter drama from yesterday.
Good.
So, did you see the AI drama that was happening yesterday?
The AI drama in Hollywood? Or it was just
Yeah.
AI drama that bled into Hollywood?
It was AI drama specifically about a movie that's coming out.
I saw a headline that some movie confirmed that they used AI in it.
So there's an indie horror coming out called Late Night with the Devil.
Okay.
Shudder's going to be releasing it, and they have 3 interstitial cut. The premise is like it's a live on air exorcism, right?
Okay.
And so there's 3, the typical please stand by cuts from old TV days.
Yeah.
So the AI generated 3 images that pop up on screen for a totality of 10 seconds of screen time.
Yeah.
And that's what they're getting in trouble for. Now,
how did that even come to light?
I don't know the answer to that question. I think that there was someone may have suspected it, and then they came out and confirmed it along those lines. And their claim is we did this 2 years ago when this was all new and we were experimenting with the technology. Before AI became this big talking point.
We did it before you were mad.
Yeah, that's basically their argument. And I personally, and it's boy, the amount of vitriol, that, you had critics saying, you know what, we're not covering this movie now.
Cool.
I swear to God, man, you had people saying they were going to boycott the movie.
For a Shudder original.
For a Shudder original.
Hey.
There wasn't, by the way, not that Shudder commissioned, that Shudder bought off the festival circuit. It was an indie movie that Shudder bought off the festival circuit.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I'm just okay. One, the timeline, I agree. I do think there is merit to the case of we were screwing around with things, and this is this is during the timeline of everyone was screwing around with AI fucking profile pictures and shit. When it was just fun and games before we realized how bad it was going to be. And I'm just this is the wrong thing to get mad at.
The wrong hill to die on, you think?
Yeah.
You think this might be the wrong hill to die on?
This might be the wrong hill. In terms of fighting, in terms of the AI fight, this one might not be the one you want to fight on.
Maybe you shouldn't rev this up to 11. Maybe
Yeah.
you shouldn't rev this one up to 11 and crucify the indie, especially for indie stuff. Like, come on, if we're not gonna make any kind of dispensation for indie directors, which have every great indie director, you read their books or you hear them in interviews.
They cut corners all the time.
Legal corners. Like they are legally trying to push boundaries. They're legally trying to get away with shit that they can't, that they wouldn't otherwise do. They don't get permits. They shoot on shit that they shouldn't be shooting on. They shoot in front of things that they shouldn't be shooting on. They are, Robert Rodriguez was famous for, consenting to different medical tests on himself and giving blood and semen so he could fund his movie.
Danny Boyle has literally talked about how when he shot 28 Days Later, which was one of the first films shot on video, the consumer grade video cameras.
DV,
he was putting the cameras in illegal positions that he was not allowed to put them in because he had no permits for them.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how awesome that was.
Yeah.
Literally, I remember the interview so clearly. He goes, "You can shoot illegally with these cameras. They're great." Like,
yeah.
And I was like, wow, you're just saying that out loud. So I'm just like, and what drives me more nuts is like, we're having this debate the same day the new Roadhouse came out, and there was literally an article, I think a month ago, where it was confirmed that the new Roadhouse movie, giant Amazon movie directed by Doug fucking Lyman, starring Jake fucking Gyllenhaal, and Conor McGregor, where they confirmed that they used AI to recreate some voices instead of doing ADR. Like,
yeah.
And like, no one's boycotting the new fucking Roadhouse.
Well,
like,
I don't know. I don't know if Film Twitter was necessarily the target demo for the new Roadhouse.
Are you kidding? Do you know the love that Roadhouse has on Film Twitter? The original.
The original, yes. I don't think that this version of it is designed for them. I think that this version of it is designed for my father-in-law. Who
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Who came to my house and watched every movie about a CIA agent gone rogue. I think that he is
big 24
destined.
fan. Your father-in-law.
I don't know. All I know is that because it wasn't any of the smart ones. It's just like Netflix and HBO just have this wealth of.
Oh yeah. Well, that's because having worked in that space, those movies they're so abundant because a lot of them were made. Are you talking about like the old ones or like the new ones?
The ones that come out that they're all vaguely kind of like half Guy Ritchie, but like they're kind of profane.
They're all co-productions made with foreign country money. Like but yeah, this like in terms of hills we're gonna die on AI, going after this one feels like a mistake. Not disingenuous, but just like a mistake. It's the wrong target, I think. Like it just.
Here's all I'm gonna say. If people are mad about that, good luck. Peace be with you. Vaya con Dios. Because
look, I'm all for standing your ground. I get it, people.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
If that's where you want to put the front line, this is not going to be a long war. You're going to get run over immediately. You need to determine what really, 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 really matters. And
what set me over the edge on it was I was trying to be calm about it, just not say anything about it because there was no use having the nuanced opinion on this one, at least on Twitter. But one person said we should pirate that movie since they want to steal from artists. And like, I will support you boycotting the movie. But if you pirate this movie, you're a fucking asshole.
Well, look, getting into the seriousness of the fucking boycott of the Shudder movie, like, I say this to anybody who is scared of AI, anybody who believes that AI is a force for bad in the world. Pick your battles. Pick your battles wisely, because this shit is coming and it's coming fast, and you don't have good allies. And by you don't have good allies, I mean, look to your left and look to your right. The person who's right now really, really mad about AI, as soon as they realize that they can achieve their dreams with these tools, they will be fucking using them. Like, and probably bitching on Twitter, right? Doing the same thing. But it's like
Well, I was saying this to someone this week who was talking about with it, not about the movie, just about AI in general. And what I don't like is when the AI salesmen keep trying to use the rhetoric as if to say, you won't have to do any work, and you'll just be able to prompt it, and it will spit out perfection on day one. And it's just like,
doing this?
I called them AI salesmen, like people who are like, I'm getting certified in AI, and I'm looking at these tools.
Oh, dipshits. Dipshits. You can just say dipshits.
and
get the fuck out of here. Getting certified in AI.
I've heard this from multiple people who are in that space. And I'm just like, I don't think you comprehend that things still need to be touched. There was a showrunner, John Rogers, brought him up to you before, the Leverage guy, and he actually said something on social this week I was really intrigued by, where he goes, that saying of "I hate writing, but I love having written" is basically where AI is at for the tech bros, where they get the concept of creating something and still pretending they have authorship over it because they put a prompt into a thing and spat out a paragraph of text when they didn't have to write it, but they get to say they wrote it.
I mean, sure. I just think you're having the wrong fucking conversations. Everybody's having the wrong conversations. And,
well, people are scared for their jobs. I mean, I understand.
Sure, I get it. But also learn how and where the threat's going to be. Because the threat isn't going to come from the top. The threat's going to come from your next door neighbor, from your fellow person who was in the writer's strike line. Like that, these tools are going to be available for everybody, and they are going to have applications beyond this like chatbot thing that we are looking at right now, where you just like make a wish and a thing comes out. Sure, there will always be that element of it, but the tools that are going to be there are going to come really fast, and either you're going to keep pretending that I'm so mad, nobody should be using insert tool that's really effective. And then you're going to have a bunch of other people that are going to use it, and their career is going to go faster. And that is the name of the game in Hollywood, is who gets shit made. And if people who are getting shit made are using it, then what profit is the boohoo crowd going to have?
I think there are ethical uses for AI in certain arenas, and including look, I'll tell you what, I use AI a lot in my script writing, not to write scripts, but to research. God, going to ChatGPT and typing in things like, where in the Kremlin does the president actually work out of? What is the Russian equivalent of the Oval Office? And it will tell me and understand what I'm saying. Boy, is that useful. Boy, is that research tool.
I'm sorry, Meryl. We're just getting in. You're blacklisted. You're blacklisted.
Shit.
You've now been blacklisted. Wow.
Shit.
Damn.
But how bad does search have to get before I go, you know what, this thing actually understands what I'm asking it? And for research, boy, is that helpful.
I mean, regardless, I don't think people understand how fast this is going to go. It's going to go really, really fast. And you're not even going to think of them as AI tools. They're going to be powered by AI in the way that we don't think about online storage. And yet we deal with online storage every second of every day. We are all dealing with online storage right now. We are all on AWS or Azure servers. There's a reason why that's the cement of the internet, right? AI is about to be the gasoline. And there's a million different things that use gas. There's a million different things that rely on it. And we are going to see so much shit come out really, really fast. We're going to see extraordinarily quick development. And so that's why I'm saying you really just need to be careful about what you're protecting. And I do think in general, like fucking 24 people flaming the Shudder horror man on Twitter is not the end of the world. It says more about Twitter than it does about AI.
Well, let me give you a practical example and tell me what you think the future of the tool is.
Yeah.
So one of the ones that get talked about a lot right now is Suno, right? And that's the music one where you can create gimmick songs. what is the future use of that as a tool that doesn't end in we just put all musicians out of jobs?
Well, I think you're. Are you
That's
asking?
the fear. Well, I'm talking about because that's what the fear is, right? The fear is that Suno allows everyone to just put a prompt in and it spits out a half shitty song, but it's a passable song.
Yes.
So the fear is, well, that's just gonna destroy all.
It's going to destroy the market for half shitty songs. I used to make so much money on half shitty songs, and now my novelty song career is fucking toast. Look, the future of this, I mean, the future for all of this is the people that understand these tools the best are the actual musicians. The people that understand where they can take these tools are actual musicians. We artists are very ego deprived people and don't think a lot of themselves. So when they scream, you're going to take my job, you're going to take my job. What you're really screaming is, I believe my job is so worthless, a half shitty song that pops out is going to replace it. Now, does that mean that you can afford to not ride this wave? No, you do need to ride this wave. But you need to understand what these tools are and you need to apply them to your craft. I can't tell you where the future is because I can take guesses, but even then, the guesses that I'm going to make are going to happen in like 6 months, and they're going to be totally different in 12. The underlying tools that power Suno are really what you want to think of. So it's like, put it, in the past, I've played music on this stream, right? And there's a problem because you don't want to play copyrighted music, so I started playing the non-copyrighted music, but I don't really like, you wind up playing the same 7 songs and blah, 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 blah. Would it be beneficial to me if there was just a originally created playlist of jazz songs that were being AI created? Yeah, there would be. Who am I taking money away from when I've been actively trying to not violate copyright?
So I'll give you another example where I think part of the fear is also that the audience seems to always be willing to accept it's good enough. And my example for this is there's a new feature I'm thinking about writing, and it's based around this concept of, man, we really haven't had a good psychological detective thriller in a while. Like the 90s, that heyday of the 90s of like Seven, Kiss the Girls, Along Came a Spider, Bone Collector, all that era.
Yeah.
And the reason we haven't had it, the reason it went away, is because Criminal Minds existed. And Criminal Minds was a weekly dose of that genre on CBS that was good enough.
Well, and adults didn't want to go to the theater, and so and people didn't, and studios didn't want to bank.
Well, they didn't feel a need to make the star-driven detective movie anymore because they're like, well, Criminal Minds is doing it, so why would I go see that one?
Unless David Fincher wanted to do it, then they'd be like,
right,
okay, sure,
like exactly,
yeah.
And it's like, so I think the fear also comes from the audience has shown us time and time again they often are willing to accept good enough, right?
Yeah,
and I think there is fear there. It's like, well, AI has swiftly proven itself to be good enough. And if the audience is willing to accept good enough, what does that mean for the guys who
big sideswipe to Criminal Minds?
No, I love Criminal Minds. I'm a big Criminal Minds fan, but it's aping off of the concept.
But also, it's not the same thing, man. The medium is the message. People wanted a weekly dose of it, but that doesn't mean that they wouldn't go to the theaters. It means that the studios didn't believe. They believed that for every Silence of the Lambs, you had to do 20 other movies. 10 of them are going to be absolute flops, and 9 of them are going to be base hits, but they're not going to be gigantic. And they're like, no, we'd rather give a bunch of money to Tom Cruise to do a shitty mummy movie, which weirdly kind of helped rekindle Brendan Fraser's career. Underrated part of the current Brendan Fraser renaissance that when that mummy movie bombed, everybody was like, fucking, why didn't they just bring back Fraser? And then all of a sudden, boom.
You know what? I mean, I've always been on the side of the 99 Mummy is one of the best, one of my examples of a perfect movie.
Yeah.
And I think I agree with you that it's like that was always there. I think it was always there, but that gave people the excuse to go, we all agree that 99 movie is fucking perfect, right?
Yeah.
Well, like literally perfect story, one of the hottest casts ever.
Yeah.
Everyone became bisexual for half a second for it. Like it's so I agree with you, but back to the point, it's like, boy, the AI arguments, I feel like there was a real sort of, what are we doing here yesterday? That's how I felt. I really felt like, what are we doing here? Why is this feels like the wrong fight, especially when it's the same day as the Roadhouse movie. Like it felt like the wrong fight.
People want to be mad online, dude. They want to be mad online. And they really don't care about why they're mad online, to be totally honest with you.
God, that is the truth.
Like they really, that is secondary.
Why is secondary.
Yeah. They just want to be mad. And also they want to be they want a good seat for the mob, right? You want to be in front. That way you are looked at as pious. You are pure. You're a pure soul, and you will be recognized as such. It's almost like they're God, it's like they're trying to like signal a certain virtue. They should have a word for that.
Fuck, man. Just starting fights. Just trying to start fights.
Yeah.
All right. I love you, man. I'll talk to you later.
See you, dude. Bye. Give me a call. 510-404-8030. 510-404-8030. I'm excited when a political campaign uses AI to make ads. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of really that's the other thing, is that like AI is just going to be in every tool, and we're just like Adobe Express right now. It will be a bygone talent to cut things out of a background on Photoshop. It already is. You don't need to do that little super zoom in, like scissor in Photoshop. That used to be like 25% of how designers would spend their time, just cutting shit out of the background on Photoshop. Not anymore. AI, boom, done, over. Who is this?
Hey, just another pilot.
What up?
Hey, question for you. Biden is, politics first. Biden is trying to...
Hold on. Did you hear the dude who talked shit about you on We're Not Wrong?
I did. I sent you, I put a message in. Yeah. Well, was he talking shit, or was it just because you shortened? I assumed because you shortened the thing, it sounded like talking like shit.
No, he actively was like, fuck the pilot who you talked to. Pilots don't know shit.
Oh. Yeah, well, I put a response in the We're Not Wrong
channel
chat
of the Discord.
Yeah, I assumed it was just you shortening it that made it sound kind of attacky. Cause
no. That was a direct attack. Now you can't write emails about emails, so unfortunately on the show he's going to get the last word, but you can respond here.
Yeah, no, sure. Well, I don't know what kind of engineer he is. I grew up an aerospace engineer. That's what my dad does. I certified airplanes for a living because, the Religion of Peace slammed 2 jumbo jets of love into the World Trade Center, so there were no jobs for a while. So when I was in aerospace engineering, I also probably met most of his bosses, if he's a Boeing guy or an Airbus guy. Let's put it this way. I think there's an argument to be made that pilots don't know much about airplanes. There's actually a safety reason why we do that. And he should know that if he's an engineer. So I don't know what he's doing, but if he didn't like the tone of my email or anything else, I
think he just wanted to talk shit about pilots. I think he's just
that's fine. We make cartoonishly more money than them. We have cartoonishly more days off than them. My dad is an aerospace engineer. That's why I became a pilot, because I looked at what he did and he told me what he did, and I even worked at what he did, and I went, I can make more money doing less,
Yeah.
but you have to be an idiot to work like this. And my dad went, yeah. No, if it makes passengers feel better, like it already made Andrew and Jen feel better. So, like, if that's the price we got to pay to make people feel better, then that's
And that's
fine
good.
with me.
That's big of you. That's
Yeah,
big
I don't
of you.
care.
Okay, all right. Let's get to politics. What's up?
Yeah, I'll go back to flying in 1 minute. Biden is trying to do the Uno card on weren't things better? Trump's got the line, weren't things better 4 years ago? So I guess Biden's going to pull the Uno reverse card and say, yeah, when Trump did the lockdowns. I don't think that's going to work with independents. Do you?
If Biden becomes an anti-lockdown guy?
Well, saying that, it was worse under Trump. Yes, it was worse under Trump because of lockdowns. It was worse under Trump because of COVID and his response.
Yeah.
Is that going to work with independents?
Right now, what's killing Biden is the fact that even if they're feeling better about the economy now than they did, they still very fondly remember the Trump economy. And so what you're seeing in the polling is people are like, yeah, the economy's doing better now. Who do you trust more, Biden or Trump? They're like, oh, Trump for sure. I trust Trump more than I trust Biden. So Biden's not getting any credit for the recovery. And people are like, oh, well, let's go to Trump. So the question for both of them is COVID. How do you want to deal with COVID? Right now, both candidates kind of lightly touch on it. Biden has given himself credit for the kind of recovery from COVID, but and is basically taking credit for the vaccine. But Trump doesn't really like to touch it because it was when the economy fell apart and he did lock down, and it wasn't a shining example of leadership. I think if he had done better, he probably would be finishing his second term right now. So
yeah,
it's
but does that poll independence?
I don't think anybody wants to fucking think about COVID, to be totally honest with you. So I don't think it really, nobody wants to go do mental math about everything that happened during fucking lockdown. It was an ugly time. It was an ugly, scary time. I think everybody wants to turn the page. So anybody who spends a lot of time talking about COVID, I don't know what the shelf life of it's going to be, because I do think America just does not want to visit that haunted house again.
All right. Well, that's the first question. Second, I guess this is the beep, 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 just another pilot travel advisory.
Yeah.
This summer tickets are going to be probably the most expensive we've seen. And you can't blame the pilots this time. So between the Maxes not coming, keep in mind a lot of those tickets have already been sold for airplanes that aren't coming, and a bunch of Airbus Neos having to be parked for engine issues, as well as the 220. This affects American, United, Delta, Alaskan, and Southwest. So I would say, I hope folks take a look at the map, see if you can drive it. It is going to be an expensive summer. We don't have enough airplanes.
Gotcha.
Sorry. Yeah. Not so good, Al.
Yeah. We just booked a couple flights to Florida and to Ohio, and they were fucking expensive. I gotta say, they were like cross country prices.
Yeah. That's they're going to go up, not down.
Well, all right. So book now.
Yeah.
Book now.
Book now. And book two if you can afford it. All right. Later.
All right. See you, dude. I don't know how the Twit stuff started bubbling up in the chat. There is no beef with Twit. There is no bad blood with Twit. Obviously, this is all ancient history. We did a show on there. It was the NSFW show. I owe Twit. The people that I owe the most in my career in podcasting are Scott Johnson, Tom Merritt, Leo Laporte, and Brian Brushwood. And Andrew Main for putting me in a situation where I would do anything. Those 5 people. So I have a tremendous amount of love and respect for everybody at Twit. Still got friends that work at Twit. So no bad blood. Was there a falling out? Yes, it's ancient history. I don't really want to rehash every little bit of it, but yeah, no bad blood. No bad blood. I heard lots of beef and bad blood. Look, I mean, I hate things that are out of my control based on what I say. And unfortunately for that situation, it's very, very vexing because we were very measured about how we dealt with stuff. I have a lot of respect for everybody at Twit. I have a lot of respect for Leo and Lisa specifically. And it was very unfortunate that everything went down the way it did. Because I never meant, even then, never meant to have things be ugly. Spin. Don't assume that there's nothing. Don't assume that there's nothing. Some things take a while. And also sometimes the people that would be working on it are working on other things. And sometimes they are on the road covering the fucking primaries. But I'm not. All right, we're not going any further down that road. There we go. We're I said what I said, is what it is. All love, no hate. Salute to everybody. My beach takes on We're Not Wrong were wild. By wild, do you mean unimpeachably correct? Because I would agree with that. They were unimpeachably correct. The only thing that is a beach is sand you can walk on and water that is either blue or light blue, and the water is warm. That's the only thing that's a beach. There are a lot of other places where land end and water begin. There's a lot of other places. They're just not beaches. Sometimes they're pebbly. Sometimes they're muddy. Sometimes they got fucking sticks in it. Sometimes it's cold. Sometimes you get in the water and it's freezing cold. Not pleasurable. Not fun. Sure, people gaslight themselves into saying that it is, but that doesn't make it right. We should be dreaming better. We're Americans, goddammit. A privileged take. Not a privileged take. It's just, plenty of public free beaches in South Florida. You don't have to, have a private beach or anything. Public beaches. I don't get in any body of water unless it's like bathwater temperature. This man beaches. If you grew up in Oregon, that's fine, man. You got better forests. You don't see me walking in to 2 different palm trees and saying, what a great forest. Oh my God, the best forest. Boy, I had a great time in the forest. No, you'd look at me like an asshole and you'd say, no, that's not a forest. Come to Oregon. I'll show you a forest. I'd go up there and I'd be like, damn, this shit's a forest. Brisk cold water is invigorating. You know, I don't think that that's incorrect. If you want to do a cold plunge, yeah. But the point of that is that you're doing a thing that is not, that you don't want to do. You're shocking your body into another situation. It's therapeutic, but I don't think it's necessarily something that you would do on vacation. If you're trying to relax, that's all I'm saying. A beach should be a relaxing place. Why is it then when a ship runs aground a bunch of rocks, we say that it's beached? I don't know, man. Talk to a fucking sailor. Just admit that you hate cold in the way that Andy hates hot. You are a cold hater. This is one of the things that I like least about Andrew Heaton, is that he totally eviscerated a corner that I've had for most of my adult life, which is unrepentant weather pussy. I've had this corner ever since I went from growing up in South Florida to going to college in Syracuse, New York, the snowiest city in America. I got all these takes, man. I got jokes. I got one-liners. I got reasons. I've had these arguments a million different times. I used to do them on the Jury podcast that if you live in cold weather, you are a masochist, and if you raise children in cold weather, you're a child abuser. These are, I mean, like rock solid takes. And I used to do that, but I can't do it when Andrew Heaton is literally having a conniption fit every time the temperature gets above 76. I can't do it then, because now it just sounds like I'm kind of doing the opposite side of it, and I don't want to be the Jack Frost to his heat miser. And he's a lot more, he actually believes it. I mostly do it to get a rise out of people. But the problem is that, like, for real, his takes on the show are his takes in private. I will tell you that. That's true. Oh. So the question is whether or not we are going to fund the government. It looks like we are. But we are seeing some folks that are really upset about it. Okay, maybe I can't find it. People are upset, man. They're upset with Mike Johnson. I just don't know what they want him to do. Like, honestly. He's 2 cases of the flu away from not having the majority. You already fired the guy before him. They've lost 2 people since then. You have a Democratic Senate and a Democratic president. Like, if I were Mike Johnson, my statement would be, you fucking do it. If it's so easy to get all of the Republican priorities, you do it. Republicans want to be in second place. That's the only place they like it. Yeah, maybe. Hard to argue. All right. That's it for today. We're shutting it down. Next week, we got great shows. We got great streams. But mostly, I'm just excited to hang out with you. So, until then, this is your old pal Justin Robert Young saying...